Hey everybody, thank you for joining me for my second video blog. So I guess the proverbial cat has been let out of the proverbial bag, and now I have a couple of subscribers who are actually my friends in real life, which is both embarrassing and inevitable. Hello friends in real life, I love you and thanks for watching, and hopefully you're not just using this as fodder to make fun of me behind my back. So what I really want to tell you guys about is my week, because my week was crap. My week started out as crap. So here's how it went. I work extremely early on Sundays. I have to be in at 6:30, and I woke up and I knew something was off. Namely me. I was what's off. Despite something being off, I muscled through, went through my morning routine, walked to work, and got to work and started performing my normal tasks for opening, and noticed that I was pretty incapable of complex thought or fine motor skills, and just had no clue what was going on. And then it dawned on me. So Saturday night, I threw a dinner party. I decided to be a responsible adult and not combine drinking with cooking that requires high heat and a lot of fast-paced motion. So by the time I was done cooking, everybody else was nice and buzzed and socially lubricated, and I was sober, socially awkward, and praying to God that everybody liked my food. And then I did the dumb thing. For all of you out there who have not yet experienced social drinking, either because you're too young or you don't have access to alcohol, or it's just not something that you have been comfortable trying, if you do, or when you do in the future, let me give you a little piece of advice. Never try to catch up. Just don't do it. It's a bad idea. What will happen is that all of your friends who have been drinking before you have been drinking at a reasonable pace, at a reasonable amount. You, trying to catch up with them as quickly as possible, will do two things. One, you will drink far more or far more potent drinks than you would normally, and two, you will drink them faster than you would normally, which creates a situation where you will catch up to the level of drunkenness your friends are at and immediately surpass them. And you will end up in this zone of horribleness where you have a choice about whether to puke or pass out, and you really probably ought to puke because you're probably giving yourself alcohol poisoning, but you'll choose pass out because that's the more comfortable option. So, reeling back this tangent, now that you know how my Saturday night went, you have to understand that I made that decision to pass out rather than throw up at about 3 a.m. If you remember from before, I had to get up for work at 6. So like I was saying, and then it dawned on me, I was probably still drunk. I'm not sure, but the likelihood is high. I've managed to make it to 30 without ever showing up to work drunk. This is the first time, and super embarrassed. I was miserable. I started to sober up very, very shortly after getting everything for my day set up. And about an hour into my shift, things got worse. I work outside, and sometimes when you work outside, you have to not only deal with the regular, concerns of business, customers, and money, and problems, and machinery breaking down, and things not going the way that you'd like them to, but you also have to deal with nature. This was a day that I had to deal with nature. I had just served a customer and had sent them away happy, and looked up and noticed that there were these shiny threads all over my equipment. And I was sort of confused because they weren't there a second ago. I was like, what are these? I checked and made sure that it wasn't something on my glasses. No, there were shiny threads there. They sort of looked and acted like spider webs. But they weren't there a second ago, so they couldn't be spider webs, right? So I'm pondering this, and I kind of lean on my equipment and I look over, and that's when I see it. There's this planter that has kind of lovely plants and ornamental kale, flowers, that kind of thing in it. And one of the taller leaves of these plants has a spider web attached to it that climbs all the way up and attaches again to a drainage pipe on the side of the building. And on this spider web are thousands of tiny baby spiders. And I happen to be downwind. So not only was all my equipment, but I was covered in tiny baby spiders. So despite my desire to, you know, kind of tear off my clothes and run screaming down the street going, get them off, get them off, get them off, get them off, I couldn't. I had customers on all sides of me. So I just sucked it up and spent the rest of the day covered in tiny baby spiders. And I finished up my shift just fine, got home, got to shower, washed a disturbing number of tiny dead baby spiders out of my hair, and went to bed. Because what else can you do after you spend an entire day covered in tiny baby spiders? Hungover and miserable. So the rest of my week hasn't been that eventful, but has been stressful. I am waiting to hear back from a university that I applied to, and it's getting down to the point where not knowing is almost as bad as being denied entry. I've been dealing with a toothache for the last 3 days, so I went into my dentist's office and I was like, it hurts. Help. They basically informed me that I pretty much need a root canal, which I will be assessed for next week. I also went to the dermatologist and got a mole removed today. It needs to be biopsied to see if I have cancer. So I get to spend the next 2 weeks sitting around going, maybe I have melanoma. Melanoma is one of the most deadly forms of cancer. Hope I don't have melanoma. So, needless to say, it's a stressful week, and it's not over yet. I'm kind of dreading going to work tomorrow. So that's it. That's all I have for you. I'm hoping that the next couple of videos I can actually, you know, talk about a topic and maybe even stay on it. That'd be new and interesting. But in the meantime, thank you. Thank you for letting me vent about my week. I know that it's not very serious stuff that will affect my life in the long term, except for the college thing and the cancer thing. But it does help. It does help to be able to just kind of vent and get all of this off of my chest. So I appreciate it. Thanks, and hopefully I will see you soon with more positive things. Have a good week. Hope it's better than mine.